Welcome, everybody, to our first performance of our second day of the Shelter in Place Festival. This is called The Shortest Long Distance Relationship in the History of Romance. It is written by Ken Pruce. It is starring Campbell Smith, and this was directed by Callie Duncan. Enjoy, everybody.
Hey, Candace. It's me, Candace. That's what it be. On your computer, in your bedroom, wearing your PJs. It's me, you, us. Oh God, day 3 and I'm already losing it. Welcome back. It's day 3 of the Momentum Isolation event that closed schools, quarantined families, and turned your epic romance into an epic fail. Day 3, you ask. Why is it just day 1 of this video diary? What happened to the other days? What are you hiding? Well, frankly, you asked too many questions. But if you must know, day 1 and 2 were beautifully written and illustrated in the pages of my personal diary. They were then unfortunately ripped from the binding and destroyed in a fire that erupted in a metallic trash can stashed in the bath. A tragic but unavoidable accident. Well, it was avoidable, I suppose, had Alan not gone from crush to boyfriend to ex-boyfriend that crushes dreams. No worries though, because I am now the sole owner of a world record. The shortest long-distance relationship in the history of romance. Shortest both in distance and duration. Well, technically I'm the co-owner of the record, but Alan broke up with me, so he forfeited any claim to the title. But that's in the past. 28 minutes in the past to be exact, but the past nonetheless. So we begin fresh. Day 3 of this new normal and day 1 of this online diary. Day after day thinking of the same thing for who knows how long. Me in my room, not going anywhere, thinking about a romance that's not happening. It's pretty much the exact same way it was before the Momentum Isolation event. One difference though, instead of thinking about a romance that's not happening because it was never going to happen, I'm thinking about a romance that's not happening because it miraculously started to happen and then suddenly stopped. Thanks, Alan. No. Thanks, Alan! Just to clarify, I was shouting out my window, not to the town or the world or the universe, so they are all welcome in. They're all welcome to listen and chime in with advice or karmic retribution. No, I was shouting to Alan, next door. We can't see each other from our street-facing windows unless we both kind of lean out and then look to the side, which we did do during our 3-day relationship, but he can hear me. Point of clarification, I say 3-day relationship because we technically made it to the 3rd day, but in reality, it started very late on day 1 and ended very early on day 3 in the wee hours of... Wee hours? I've never said that in my entire life. Am I turning into my grandmother? This keeps up and I'll be knitting and losing my glasses and prattling on about the crooning styles of Mr. Rhythm. Frankie Lane. I keep meaning to look him up. Guess there's plenty of time now. Oh, time! I was talking about time. Refocus. Alan dumped me at 12:04 this morning. Technically a wee hour, or we are no longer a wee hour. From a Friday night kiss to a Sunday morning text, we lasted a few minutes over a full day. Not exactly a classic love story. It could have been though. No, I won't play what if or exaggerate what was or obsess over every possible moment. Though there were so few actual moments, it would conceivably be impossible. No, I'm just going to state the facts with some light literary analysis tossed in for context. School is closed, so I'm not going to do research or provide footnotes. Well, all classic love stories feature couples that are overcoming great obstacles. Al and I kind of had a chance to do that. We didn't exactly have religious differences or language barriers or families involved in a lifelong feud. It was quite the opposite, really. We attend the same church, share the same language electives at school, and our families have not so subtly been setting us up since the 7th grade. But we did have the virus. Oh wait, I mean, we didn't actually have the virus, thank goodness. But it was out there, looming as a possibility, scaring families and shuttering the city, sending everyone scrambling to stay safe. And then Friday night, when the world seemed to be turning upside down, Al and I stood between our houses laughing about the nonsense of it all, and something changed. He grew sad about missing the end of school, and I admitted being worried about my grandma, and we sort of just kind of fell into a hug to comfort each other. It was one of those moments from a movie or a comic book or a novel or a poem if you're academically inclined, where the world stops or blurs and all you can see is the couple. And with that embrace, that's what we became, a couple. We didn't say it, we just knew. Years of friendly indifferences turned into concern and caring. And then kissing. It was a romantic moment of raw passion. Right at curfew. Midnight, Mom ran my phone, and Al's father called him in from the doorway like some coordinated attempt to force us to come up for air. Someone flashed house lights too, but they may have just been the mental fireworks from the kiss. We parted ways, and I journaled day one until I fell asleep, certain we pick things up Saturday morning, and bam, shot down by the shutdown. Mandatory quarantine for anyone that's not engaged in essential business. Well, getting back to business with Alan seemed essential and engaging to me, but the powers that be felt otherwise, and I couldn't exactly announce that I wanted to ignore social distancing to make out with my neighbor, so I was stuck here, Shakespearean-like, separated only from a wall. Well, a wall, a patch of grass, and then another wall. Trapped, just out of reach, unable to share our feelings, unable to share our passions, unable to share anything, because I didn't have his cell phone number. God, before the kiss, I never needed it. I never needed him. He was just the boy next door that I sort of kind of crushed on, and I could just walk over if I had to. I actually did once, freshman year. I wanted help in math, and Alan saved me by giving me his cousin Bertie's address so she could tutor me. I was concocting an elaborate plan to figure out his number when he shouted out his window, my name echoing dramatically between the walls. Candace, Candace, Candace. I leaned out, looked over, and there he was, leaning out, looking over, our eyes connecting over the spot where we shared our first kiss, our last kiss, and also my only kiss. Anyway, Alan told me his phone was taken away for behavior issues, but he'd sneak it back and FaceTime me. Romantic, right? Dating a troubled rebel who stole a midnight kiss, beckoned me outside my window, and was willing to break rules to see me during the plague when the whole world was trying to tear us apart. We could have talked for hours. But then the mailman started eavesdropping, and my grandmother told me to shut the window before I fell out and I let the virus in. I spent the afternoon in a family fun day, which produced very little fun. I was 100% distracted. Mom was 100% too competitive. And I'm pretty sure my grandmother's tea was 100% gin. After dinner, I journaled day 2 and waited for a call. I got a text and said, I can't do this right now. It's not going to work. Sorry. I texted back, what do you mean it's not going to work? What happened? 20 minutes later, and no response, not even the ... to show he was attempting to explain. God, he dumps me my text and says sorry, like that makes everything all right. God, he doesn't even address me by name. He must have worn it out shouting from his windows in the glory days of a mid-afternoon. What, he met someone else while he was quarantined in his own house without his phone? I can't do this right now. It's not gonna work. Sorry. Ugh. A lockdown and a breakup. Oh. I may have reacted rashly, destroying all written evidence of the relationship, but I would like to point out that I did not burn down the house, set off a smoke alarm, or ruin more than 2 monogram towels. I can't do this right now. It's not gonna work. A poignant and poetic end to the shortest long-distance relationship in the history of romance. I don't know how I could have been so stupid. He's texting. I meant I couldn't text. My phone was gonna die. Oh, okay. Yeah, that was, okay. I saw smoke coming out your window. Everything okay? um, everything's fine. I'm just hot for you. No, I miss you too.
Well done, Campbell. Thank you so much, Callie, for the direction. Ken, if you would like to join me for the Q&A. Audience, if you have any questions for Ken during this time, we will be taking questions on the live stream, so just continue. All right, Ken, where are you sheltering in place right now?
I am right near Orlando, Florida.
All right. Well, welcome to the Shelter in Place Festival. What a delightful piece. And so well done by Campbell. Talk to me about the inspiration for this work.
Well, I started as a writer for high school and middle school students, and I published about 14 different plays. And for the last 3 or 4 years, I've been writing mostly short, 10-minute pieces, but generally they're not adult plays, but they're more adult characters. And so um, there was actually an opportunity from a theater in London that was looking for a 10-minute monologue for a high school student or a middle school student. So I actually wrote the original version in with a character from London in mind. So I had to Google a bunch of things about London that I don't know myself. And I sent it out to them, and then I just reworked it a little bit for, the States. It wasn't many changes I had to make. And that was actually the world's first production. So Campbell was awesome. That was exactly how I imagined it in my head, and she's the first person to ever perform that. So it was a great job, both for the writing and the directing. I love the use of the bed and the mirror to show the window. That was wonderful.
Yes, it was a great job from Callie and the direction, and Campbell just did wonderfully. All right, I have some comments for you. I have loved it from Brendan. Aislinn said, woo, Campbell. Michelle Smith said, yeah, so great. Neil Lerner said, lovely. I have daughters, can relate. Callie Duncan says, she's definitely a romantic. And then Bella Z says, nice turn. Young love, the world is falling apart, but you broke up with me by text, priorities of youth, well done. Yeah, talk to me a little bit about the texting, because I wrote that down in some of my notes, like the misunderstandings through text. And I love how you put that in your piece.
Yeah, I mean, I have the worst habit of when I read a text trying to determine not exactly the meaning, but the passion behind it. You know how it is sometimes, and I do that when I text. I rephrase all my texts because I think like this could be interpreted as angry. I'm not an angry person, but I reread it, and sometimes I unfortunately make that discovery after I send the text, and I don't get a reply for several days. I read back, and I'm like, whoa, that didn't come out the way like I thought. I'm old. I'm in my 50s. I was going to say early 50s, but I'm 54 now. I think that technically counts as mid 50s. So texting is a relatively new thing for me. I'm used to talking on the phone. I'm used to a phone that's attached to a wall. So I've never mastered the art of texting and not completely doubting everything that I've written. And to be honest, when I was writing that piece, I got to the last page and I did not know how it was going to end. I was just kind of brainstorming the situation, and the misunderstood text was kind of a last minute idea. And to me, it was a great escape, a way to finish it up. I think it works really well. But I was on that last page and I did not know whether she was going to, stay broken up or get a text from someone else, or, consult a friend. So it's just something that struck me, and yeah, I think it works pretty well.
Yeah, I think it definitely developed beautifully at the end. Ariana Rose says, you so beautifully tap into young angst. And I so agree with that. I also really liked the talking about the beginning of the relationship with her beau, that her neighbor boy that she has, and how they bonded over this time and just kind of hugged each other. Talk a little bit about what you saw in this young love type of relationship.
Well, I'm a sappy romantic person myself, and I'm still hung up on many moments from high school that I made the wrong choice or didn't make a choice when I could have. So almost everything that I write for young people has some kind of awkward romance in there. Often I rework the character so that it's a young lady having the awkward romantic situation that I actually had. So sometimes I see a play, I see my life reenacted by a young girl who's making a horrible mistake with a love note or says something completely awkward at a dance. I don't know. I think it's something we can all relate to. I guess there are a few people in high school that had it figured out and were awesome that we all looked up to and admired, like they know how to do relationships. But for me, I was always the one pining for someone and not knowing how to relate to them, or actually finally taking that moment to take a chance and ask a girl out, usually with a poorly written poem in my case, or an awkward phone call where I was tethered to a wall. And then you finally make that move, and then there always seems to be some kind of event that, and when I was in high school, it wasn't a plague that was upon us, but there was always something, a canceled a football game, or, a new guy that moves into town that's way better looking or smarter or more poetic than I am. And there goes, the girl who was interested in me for a moment now has a better option. So
I think we can all relate to awkward love. And I love how you captured that in your piece. Callie says, Candace was really great to work with and the story was so fun. Thank you, Ken. That's the director. I also want to know, so you said your work is inspired often by the younger generation and young teenage angst. Where can we find more of your work?
I have plays published with several publishers. There's a Play Scripts Inc. has a few of my plays, and Pioneer and Eldridge Plays and Musicals. Lots of great stuff for high schools and middle schools. You guys are Texas, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, there's several high schools in Texas that have performed my plays over the years, and they're always comedies, and there's always a romance element. Whether it may not be the featured part, but I can't write a play where there's at least two people trying to figure out a way to make things work romantically. So that's often a part of the play. But yeah, I really love that. I've seen a lot of productions online, and I really love that this one took the time to not just read it, but to create, a whole story with the blocking and the build with the on the bed where we couldn't see Candace's face for several of the moments. I really like that. So I love that you guys took a piece that's new. It's the first time I've seen it, and you guys turned it into something that I'll remember watching, and I will share online with several people. So thank you so much for doing such a great job.
Absolutely. Well, to wrap this up, what advice do you have for artists right now who are sheltering in place, who are maybe struggling creatively and want to get out of their creative box?
Well, I think it's different for everybody. I've got a lot of friends who are writers and performers, and some of them are pushing hard and writing new material, and some of them are just taking care of themselves. So I would just say, don't put any pressure on yourself. I always see the memes out there, like Shakespeare wrote this play, King Lear during the plague. And, if you can't create King Lear, that's fine. Take care of your family, take care of yourself, take care of your mental health. And that's what's important. Your mental health and your physical health, and art will find its way when you're ready, or when the world is ready for you. So that's what I would suggest.
That is fantastic advice. Thank you so much for joining us here today, Ken, and thank you so much for sharing this piece.
My pleasure. You guys were awesome. Thank you so much to Campbell and the director and everyone. Thank you guys for sharing my work.
Thank you. Everybody, we will be back here at 2:30 for our next play. We will see you then.